It was supposed to be a perfect evening. The table was set, candles flickering, soft jazz humming through the living room, and the scent of vanilla and roses filling the air. I'd spent all afternoon preparing Daniel's favorite dinner, trying to make our 5th anniversary feel normal, like it used to be. And then the doorbell rang. A courier stood outside, polite smile, plain brown uniform, holding a small silver-wrapped box with our names printed neatly on the tag. To Olivia, from your husband. I remember smiling, confused, but touched. Daniel hadn't mentioned anything about a delivery. He was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone, when I carried the box in. "Babe, did you send this?" I asked, laughing softly. But the moment his eyes landed on it, he froze. The color drained from his face. His phone slipped from his hand and hit the carpet with a dull thud. "Don't," he started, voice trembling. "Olivia, don't open it. Please." I frowned.
"Why?"
"It's from you, right?" He didn't answer. The air between us thickened, heavy with something I couldn't name. The clock on the wall ticked louder than usual. My fingers hovered over the satin ribbon as his breathing grew shallow. That's when a thought crossed my mind, quiet but sharp. What could possibly scare my husband about a gift with his own name on it? It's strange how the mind reaches backward when the present starts to tremble. As I stood there, staring at that silver box, my thoughts slipped, like a reflex, back to the beginning. To when Daniel and I still believed in forever. We met 8 years ago at a bookstore in Boston. He was the man who picked up the same novel I was reaching for, smiled that easy, confident smile, and said, "Guess we have similar taste in stories." Back then, I believed fate came wrapped in small coincidences. Our wedding was simple but beautiful. My mother cried. My grandmother, Eleanor, slipped a small gold pendant into my hand, a delicate heart-shaped locket with an engraving inside that read, "Truth is love's only language." I didn't understand it then, but she made me promise, "Olivia, never be afraid to see what's real, even if it hurts." For the first couple of years, Daniel and I were inseparable. He made me laugh, called me Liv, and said we'd grow old chasing sunrises together. But then came the late-night phone calls, the sudden business trips, the passwords on his devices that changed every few weeks. I remember one night vividly, a rainy Thursday. He'd left his laptop open on the kitchen counter, and emails still on the screen. It wasn't the message itself that broke me, it was the name in the subject line. Last weekend, I miss you already. When I confronted him, he didn't yell or apologize. He just denied.
Coldly. Smoothly.
"You're imagining things again, Liv. Don't make drama out of nothing." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to be the trusting wife, not the suspicious one counting lies in the dark. That night, I sat by the window, holding my grandmother's locket, feeling the weight of her words. The truth has a sound, I thought. You can't silence it forever. The next morning, I told myself I wouldn't beg for honesty anymore. If Daniel had secrets, I'd let them surface on their own. And when they did, I'd be ready. So now, years later, standing in that living room with a trembling ribbon between my fingers, it felt almost poetic. A gift I didn't ask for. A warning in his eyes. And a voice in my chest whispering, "Maybe this is the truth finally knocking on your door." After that night, something inside me changed, not loudly, not suddenly, but like a quiet door closing. I didn't leave Daniel. Not right away. I smiled, cooked dinner, laughed at his small jokes. But inside, I was building something invisible, a world of my own. I started small. I took extra freelance work from a design firm that had once offered me a position I'd turned down for a marriage. The first week was chaos, late nights, cold coffee, and the hum of my laptop filling the silence Daniel left behind. But there was a strange power in it. Each completed project felt like a tiny rebellion, proof that I could stand on my own, even if no one noticed. Daniel didn't. Or maybe he chose not to. He was always distracted, business trips, team dinners, or late meetings that stretched past midnight. He'd come home smelling faintly of expensive perfume I didn't own. Once, I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror, tired eyes, messy bun, shirt stained with coffee, and for the first time, I didn't pity that woman. I admired her. I stopped waiting for someday. Instead, I started planning mine. My mentor, a woman named Caroline Blake, was the first to notice. She ran her own branding agency, strong, unapologetic, the kind of woman who wore confidence like perfume. She became my compass. "Don't tell him everything," she once said, eyes sharp but kind. "Sometimes peace means keeping your power quiet until you're ready to use it."
So I didn't.
I let Daniel believe I was still the same Olivia, gentle, accommodating, waiting for him to come around. But behind that illusion, I was becoming someone else. Someone who knew how to manage accounts, build clients, and negotiate contracts that carried her own signature at the bottom. 2 years later, that freelance work had grown into my own business, Haven Studio, a creative brand consultancy. And the best part? No one, not even Daniel, knew the scale of it. He thought I played with graphics in my spare time. He didn't see the six-figure invoices or the clients from New York to Seattle who trusted me with their vision. It wasn't about revenge. It was about peace, quiet, powerful peace. Sometimes, late at night, I'd sit on the balcony, scrolling through emails from clients who thanked me for changing their business, and I'd whisper to myself,
You did it, Liv.
"You built something real." But even then, a part of me hesitated to share it. Maybe because I knew the moment truth entered our marriage again, everything else would shatter. And so, when that silver box arrived years later, when Daniel's voice broke and his hands trembled, I realized something. I wasn't scared anymore. Whatever was inside, I was ready to face it. Because for the first time in years, I knew exactly who I was. Back in that living room, time seemed to stall. The candles still flickered, but the warmth they cast felt wrong, distorted, like the light was struggling to reach us. Daniel stood there, pale and silent, his eyes locked on the silver box between us. "Daniel," I said carefully, "what's going on?" He blinked, swallowed hard. "Just don't open it, Liv.
Please.
You have to trust me."
Trust.
The word hit like a cold blade. I sat down slowly, placing the box on the table. "Funny you'd use that word now." He ran a hand through his hair, pacing.
It's not what you think.
"I swear." I tilted my head, studying him. The man I once knew like the back of my hand, now twitching with secrets.
Then what is it, Daniel?
"Why does a gift with your name on it make you look like you've seen a ghost?" His mouth opened, but nothing came out. The silence stretched. Finally, I reached for the ribbon. The satin felt cool, smooth, mocking almost. I tugged once, and it slipped loose with a soft whisper. Daniel's hand shot out. "Olivia, stop." "Why?"
My voice was calm, even.
"What are you so afraid I'll see?" He froze, his eyes darting toward the front door like he expected someone to burst in. And then it clicked, the fear, the panic, the tremor in his voice. He wasn't scared of me. He was scared of whoever sent it. I lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a small black velvet pouch. My heartbeat quickened as I opened it and felt something cold drop into my palm. A USB drive. No card. No note. Just that. Daniel's shoulders sagged. He whispered something under his breath, too soft to catch, then backed away. "Oh God, she actually did it," he muttered. "She?" I asked. His silence was my answer. I plugged the drive into my laptop, ignoring his protests. The screen blinked and a folder appeared. To Olivia, with the truth. My stomach twisted. I opened it. Videos.
Dozens of them.
I clicked the first. Daniel's voice filled the room, low and unmistakable. It was him, sitting in a dim hotel room, laughing softly, a woman's hand brushing across his chest. He lunged toward me. "Liv, stop it. Just delete it, please." I didn't move. I couldn't. Each clip was a confession. Different hotels. Different cities. Months of lies. Neatly recorded, labeled, time-stamped. The last video was from 2 weeks ago. When it ended, I closed the laptop. The silence that followed was unbearable, just the faint hum of the computer fan, the sound of my heartbeat pounding in my ears. He sank to his knees. It wasn't supposed to get to you. She was blackmailing me. I ended it, Liv. You have to believe me. I stared at him, the man I'd built a life with, built walls around myself to protect from, and realized something tragic and freeing all at once. I didn't even feel anger. Just clarity. You didn't end anything, I said softly. You just got caught. He reached for my hand, but I stepped back. For the first time, he saw it, the distance that had grown between us, wide and final. The candles had burned low, wax pooling on the tablecloth. The box sat open, the ribbon discarded, like a metaphor we didn't need to explain. And as he looked at me, trembling, whispering my name, I realized something that made my voice steady. The truth had finally come, gift-wrapped and undeniable. Daniel stayed on his knees, eyes glassy, voice barely a whisper. Olivia, I can fix this, please. Just tell me what to do. For a long moment I just looked at him, really looked at him. The man I once waited up for, cooked for, cried over. He looked so small now. So human. I took a slow breath and sat back in my chair. My voice came out quiet, steady, the kind of calm that feels colder than anger. Fixing this isn't your decision anymore, Daniel. He swallowed hard. Liv, I made mistakes, I know, but… Mistakes? I interrupted. You don't get to call deliberate lies mistakes. He flinched. There it was, the truth laid bare between us, ugly but clean. I'm not here to humiliate you, I continued, my tone soft but firm. You already did that to yourself. But I'm not going to let this destroy me either. He stared at me, lost. What are you saying? I'm saying, I said, meeting his eyes, you're going to leave this house tonight. You'll pack your things and you'll go stay wherever you need to. I'll have my lawyer reach out about the next steps. He shook his head. Liv, please don't do this. Don't throw away everything we've built. I almost laughed, not bitterly, just tiredly. Everything we built? Daniel, I built this life. While you were lying, I was working. While you were pretending, I was surviving. He blinked, confused. Working? What do you mean? So I told him. About Haven Studio, about the clients, the contracts, the quiet empire I had built under his nose. His mouth fell open, shock, disbelief, maybe shame. You're lying, he whispered. I smiled faintly. You said that before, remember? When I caught you lying. He looked down, hands trembling. So this is revenge? No, I said softly. This is justice. And peace. I stood, straightening the hem of my blouse, and walked toward the fireplace. My reflection in the glass looked different. Older, sharper, freer. Here's what's going to happen, I said, turning back to him. You're going to be honest, with me, with whoever else you've hurt. You're going to get help, Daniel. Therapy, maybe. I don't care how you do it, but you will. He nodded weakly, tears pooling. And me, I continued. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. Living, building, healing. For a moment, silence hung heavy, filled only by the faint ticking of the clock, the same clock that had marked every second of our unraveling. He reached for the locket around my neck, my grandmother's. You used to believe in us, he whispered. I stepped back gently. I did. Until I realized believing in you meant forgetting me. His face crumpled. I didn't move to comfort him. Not anymore. Instead, I walked to the table, picked up the open box, and placed the USB back inside. Keep it, I said quietly. It's your reminder of what truth costs when you bury it. Then I turned to leave. Behind me, I heard him break, a quiet, strangled sob. But I didn't turn around. For once, the sound didn't pull me back. It pushed me forward. The next morning, the house was quiet. Daniel's things were gone, his suits, his cologne, the watch he used to polish before every meeting. For the first time in years, the silence didn't ache. It breathed. I walked through the living room slowly, sunlight spilling across the floorboards. The silver box still sat on the table, empty now, just soft tissue paper inside, faintly smelling of roses and something metallic, like the echo of a memory. It wasn't the gift I expected on our anniversary. But maybe, in its own twisted way, it was exactly the one I needed. I made coffee, poured it into my favorite chipped mug, the one Daniel always said I should replace.
I didn't.
I liked it the way it was, imperfect, but strong. A lot like me. Later that afternoon, I sat on the balcony with my laptop, reviewing a client proposal. My inbox was full, new projects, new partnerships, life moving forward, as it always does when you finally stop waiting for permission to begin again. The wind brushed my hair, and for a moment, I felt my grandmother beside me, her soft voice echoing from memory. Truth is love's only language. I unclasped the locket around my neck and opened it. Inside, along with her engraving, I slipped a tiny folded note, my own edition. It read, I finally spoke it. A small smile tugged at my lips. I thought about Daniel, wherever he was, and felt no anger, no bitterness. Just distance. The kind that means healing. Because sometimes the closure we crave doesn't come from apologies or explanations. It comes from realizing you don't need them anymore. The sun dipped lower, painting the horizon in gold and amber. I took a deep breath, letting the warmth sink into my skin, and whispered into the breeze, Happy anniversary, Olivia. And maybe that was the truest celebration of all, not the years we shared, but the moment I finally chose myself. As I stood to head inside, my eyes drifted one last time to that silver box on the table. The ribbon fluttered in the open window's breeze, a soft, almost forgiving sound. And in my heart, I knew the gift I'd been warned not to open was never a mistake. It was freedom, wrapped in truth. Sometimes, the gift you're told not to open is the one that finally sets you free.